Hello once again. It's another edition of Mr. Brakeman tells you something about math. Yeah. Today, Algebra 2, what we're going to take care of is multiplying and dividing rational expressions. We probably just finished adding and subtracting rational expressions. So you understand the concept of excluded values where the denominator can't be zero. Personally, I think this is more straightforward than adding and subtracting, but let's go ahead and take a look. So let's go ahead and just like we did last time when we added and subtracted fractions or rational expressions, we first looked at how to add and subtract fractions. Same thing I'm going to do this time. All right, I'm going to talk about how to multiply and divide fractions before we do each of those with rational expressions. So with that said, here's how I'm going to start this. How do you multiply 4/5 times 5/6? Now, conventionally, you guys would say, okay, 5 divided by 5 is 1. I'd simplify 4 divided by 6 is 2/3, right? Multiply across to get 2/3. I'm going to show you the same thing, but kind of like the how that works, remember? Because 4 is just 2 times 2, and I've got my 5. I can't break that down any further. In my denominator, I have 5 times 2 times 3, because that's 6, right? And so what we do is we simplify what we can. I can simplify the 2 in the numerator and denominator, because 2 divided by 2 is 1. I've got a 5 in the numerator and denominator, and that's just 1. So I multiply across. 1 times 2 times 1 is 2, and 1 times 1 times 3 is 3. Now, did we get the same thing? Yeah, absolutely we did, right? But this is the theory behind how that actually works. We're going to apply this right now to multiplying rational expressions. So what we're going to do is we're going to factor everything that we can, get excluded values if they exist, and then what we're going to do is just simplify factors in the numerator and denominator. So if I do that, let's look at this. I've got 3x squared divided by x squared minus 2x minus 8 times 2x squared minus 6x minus 20 divided by x squared minus 3x minus 10. That's a lot. That is a lot. But if you're good at factoring or have been practicing factoring or can do those steps to get there, we're going to be just fine. If I start and look at 3x squared, I'll give you that one. It's just 3x squared. In my denominator, though, I have x squared minus 2x minus 8. What multiplies to negative 8 adds to negative 2. That would be x minus 4 times x plus 2. Multiplying here. Oh, this one's got a GCF. Let me do this one. 2 times x squared minus 6x minus 10. So what multiplies to negative 10? Oh, no, sorry, negative 3x. I almost forgot to that one, right? Negative 3x minus 10. What multiplies to negative 10 but adds to negative 3? If we got my 2 in there, that'd be x minus 5, x plus 2. Hopefully you're seeing stuff. I'm seeing stuff already. X plus 2. Don't do it yet, though. Don't do it yet, right? And I also have x squared minus 3x minus 10. Why did I saw that? That's x minus 5 times x plus 2. Okay, interesting. Interesting. So let's take a look at what we got right now. We factored everything. That was step 1. Factor everything. That's why it says start by factoring. Then identify excluded values. My EVs in this case, well, here I would have 4, positive 4, negative 2. So hold on, 4, negative 2, 5, and negative 2. I've already got that. We're good to go. Those are my 3 excluded values. All right. Now comes the fun part. Let's look for factors we can simplify from the numerator and denominator. Well, here I've got an x minus 5 and an x minus 5. That is just 1. I've got an x plus 2 divided by an x plus 2. That is also just 1. I look with everything else. There's nothing else I can simplify. So I'm just going to multiply straight across. 3x squared times 2 is 6x squared. Divided by, what do I have left? X minus 4 times x plus 2. And that is it. We multiplied and found excluded values. All right, I'm going to do B. We're going to look at that one more time. You're going to try C and D. All right, so here we go. We've got, move this over here. We've got, there it is, x squared minus 8x divided by 14 times x squared plus 8x plus 15 times 7x plus 35 divided by x plus 8. Well, let's start by going ahead and factoring. Remember, factoring can involve taking a GCF, which it does in this first one. I have x times x minus 8 divided by 14 times, well, what adds, sorry, multiplies to 15, but adds to 8? That would be 5 and 3. X plus 5, x plus 3, times, another GCF here, 7 times x plus 5 divided by x plus 8. I'm going to throw this in parentheses too, just so we know it's a factor. All right, let's go ahead and list out what are our excluded values here. Well, the 14 doesn't do anything for me, but the x plus 5 gives me -5. X plus 3 gives me -3. X plus 8 gives me -8. Those are my 3 excluded values because those make my denominator 0. We don't want that. Let's see what we can simplify. Well, I've got an x plus 5 in the numerator and denominator. That simplifies to 1. Well, that's a -8 and +8 for x's, so that can't do anything there. X doesn't do anything. Oh, I've got a 7 and a 14. 7 divided by 14 is 1 divided by 2, and I think that's all I can simplify. So let's see what we're left with here. I've got x times x minus 8 times 1 times 1. So x times x minus 8, then you don't need the ones, right? Now I've got 2 times x plus 3 times x plus 8. 2x plus 3 times x plus 8. And that is how you simplify those. Again, it's a lot of things that we've already done up to this point. So with that, what you're going to do now is try C and D. Try C and D. Then when you're done, come back, see what you did. C and D, give them a shot. See you in a minute. All right, as you make your way back, you'll notice for letter C, our excluded values are 8, -3, 0, and 9. And we simplify to x minus 3 divided by 2x times x minus 9. Our x minus 8s simplify and our x plus 3s simplify, which is really nice. For letter D, our excluded values are 9 and -1. We notice that we simplify x minus 9 from the numerator and denominator, and we end up with 3x divided by x plus 1. All right, multiplying. Okay, we're feeling good. We're feeling good. The last part here is we need to divide. How would you divide 5/8 divided by 4/15? Well, if you remember, when you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal of what you're dividing by. So instead of 5/8 divided by 15/4, we're going to make this 5/8 times 4/15. We flipped it. We took the reciprocal. I'm going to do the same thing. I know we've got 4 and 8 and 5 and 15. I know all that. Let me lay it out again for you, right? 5 times 2 times 2 divided by 2 times 2 times 2, that's 8, times 3 times 5. What simplifies out of here? Well, 5 divided by 5 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is also 1. And this 2 divided by this 2 is also 1. Oh, that's kind of fun. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1 in the numerator. And 1 times 1 times 2 times 3 times 1 is 6 in the denominator. Okay, okay. Again, that's our quick little refresher there, because what we're going to do is basically the same thing. What we're going to do is we're going to find not just 2 sets of possible excluded values, but possibly 3 sets. What do I mean by that? Well, up here, we had 3 different denominators. 8 and 4 were our denominators we started with, but then when we multiplied, we ended up with 15 as a denominator. So these 3 things are going to end up being what we're checking for excluded values. Let's go ahead and do that. Well, x plus 7 squared, let's write this out. X plus 7 times x plus 7 divided by x squared, right? And now this is all divided by, well, let's see, what x squared plus 9x plus 14. Oh, okay, 2 and 7. X plus 2, or we get 7 times x plus 2. What multiplies to -2 but adds to +1? How about x plus 2? Times x minus 1. All right, let's list out our excluded values that we have right now. Right now, I get 0 as an excluded value from there. From this denominator, I get -2 and 1. Okay. But like we just said, when you divide by a fraction, you actually multiply by the reciprocal. So let's take the reciprocal of the second one, x plus 7 times x plus 7, divided by x squared. And instead of dividing, we're going to multiply by x plus 2 times x minus 1, divided by x plus 7 times x plus 2. And you'll notice now I've got two possible new excluded values. Well, this one's -7. We didn't have that before. We need to put that in there. But -2 we already had. We don't have to write it a second time, but if that was something different, we would write that in there. And at this point, we simplify. What do we have in the numerator? Let me separate this, make sure we don't get anything confused. Well, I've got an x plus 7 in the numerator and denominator. That simplifies to 1. An x plus 2 in the numerator and denominator, which simplifies to 1. I think that's all it simplifies. Now I just need to multiply across. I end up with x plus 7 times x minus 1. And I've just got x squared in the denominator. There's what we multiply or divide to. Those are my excluded values. All right, let's go ahead and try this one more time. This is letter B here. So that doesn't, let's see. So I got 6x here, 3 times x minus 10, because that's my greatest common factor, divided by, let's see. Oh, that's a 9. I'm going to write this here. There's a GCF going on in here. 9 times x squared minus 3x minus 4. What multiplies to -4 but adds to negative? Okay. 9 times x minus 4 times x plus 1. That's my numerator now that I've made. Divided by, well, I've got x times x minus 10. That was my GCF, one of those GCFs in there. I got some excluded values. I get 10 from there. I get 0 from right there. And I get 10 again. I don't have to write that. We've already written that, right? But now instead of dividing, I need to multiply by the reciprocal. So this now becomes 6x divided by 3 times x minus 10. This one doesn't change. But this one we flip. We take the reciprocal. X times x minus 10. 9 times x minus 4 times x plus 1. We need to check for new excluded values here and here. Well, it looks like we got them. I got 4 and also -1. So I had a couple new excluded values. All right. Well, now let's see what simplifies. I've got an x minus 10 in the numerator and denominator. That simplifies to 1. How about 6 divided by 3? That simplifies to 2 and 1. And I think that's it. So let's multiply what we got left. I've got 2 times x times 1, or just 2x squared, divided by 1 times 1 times, well, this stuff, 9 times x minus 4 times x plus 1. There we go. That's all. I mean, there you go. Excluded values and multiply, and then divided two rational expressions. I like that a lot. Obviously, your job is going to be to try C and D, and then check your answers when you come on back. So go ahead, let's take a look real quick. Yeah, the only difference here, it's kind of nice. The only difference that we're doing between multiplying and dividing is just one flip and checking for more excluded values. I like this a lot. Okay. X plus 11 divided by 4x divided by 2x plus 6 divided by x squared plus 2x minus 3. And for D, we've got 20 divided by x squared minus 7x divided by 5x squared minus 40x. That's divided by x squared minus 15x plus 56. Give those two a shot, come back in a second, and check your work. All right, there's a lot going on here, but for letter C, we have our excluded values of 0, -3, and 1. And what's nice, when we take that reciprocal here, we still get -3 as an excluded value. So that's kind of like, we checked it off. It's already there, right? For letter, oh, sorry, we end up with x plus 11 times x minus 1, all divided by 8x. For letter D here, we end up with 0, 7, and 8. And once again, when we take the reciprocal, we end up with 0 and 8 again as excluded values. So we didn't have to, those are good to go. We don't have to check them off. They're just already there. So, and when we simplify everything, we're just left with 4 divided by x squared, which is, it's kind of crazy how much this up here, that mess for D just turns out to be 4 divided by x squared. All right, that's it for this target. What you need to do now, take care of some practice, ask good questions, and as always, have a great day.